Welcome to the Justice Show. I'm your host Brennan Goswami, and today we are discussing the very important topic about the Israel and Palestine conflict. Yes, the nation wants to know, the world wants to know the reason behind this conflict. That is what we will discuss today. Today I am on site in JD Pune, and over here we have got some inside information that a group of students are studying the book Terror in the Mind of God by Mark Juergensmeyer. And chapter 3 in this book is Zion Betrayed, which is exactly about the Israel and Palestine conflict that we are talking about. So, let's get a comprehensive understanding and analysis about this chapter by discussing it with some students, shall we? Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
What is your name?
I am Atul.
Atul. Oh, well, good to meet you. I would like to ask you about the book Terror in the Mind of God, chapter 3, Zion Betrayed. What is your understanding about that chapter?
Okay. Author in this chapter, Zion Betrayed, provides a thought-provoking analysis of the religious dimension in the Israel-Palestine conflict. He effectively examines the evolution of Zionism from a secular nationalist movement to a religiously motivated one, shedding light on how religious beliefs are used to justify acts of terror in the name of God.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like to introduce yourself and then share something about what was your experience of reading the book Terror in the Mind of God, particularly the 3rd chapter, Zion Betrayed?
Okay, fine. My name is Christian. As I read the chapter, I found it very shocking and horrifying to hear these extremist and exclusivist ideas. With this kind of fundamentalism, there won't be any peace between Palestine and Israel. And what is worse is that these fundamentalists believe that they have a divine right over that land.
Now we have touched upon the real crux of the matter. Land. That is the main issue. Excuse me, sister. What do you feel?
Hi, I am Asmita. I feel the chapter speaks about the relationship between religion and politics. Mayor Kane even started a political party. However, the party never managed to get many votes and was outlawed for its extremist rhetoric.
Religion and politics. That's an important question. Let's get some more points of view, shall we? What do you feel about it?
Yes, the author speaks of violence from both sides, the Jews and Arabs, and how this fuels animosity and further violence, and thus this vicious cycle continues. The president Isaac Rabin was assassinated by Yigal Amir, an extremist. This shows that they don't even spare their own if they perceive them as a threat.
Excuse me, sir. What do you feel? Why do you think the chapter is called Zion Betrayed?
Hi, I'm Augustus. I feel the chapter is called Zion Betrayed because Zion is the land of Israel, what the Jews call their homeland. And Zionism is the nationalist movement with the goal of establishing a Jewish homeland in Palestine, Israel. Zion feels betrayed by the secular Jews and the secular government because they are not helping or in establishing their sovereign homeland.
Sir, I believe you would like to say something more?
It is interesting to note that the author says that Cain told him that he did not hate the Arabs but respected them and felt that they should not live in disgrace in an occupied land. and for that reason they should leave. The problem, Cain said, was not that they were Arabs, but they were non-Jewish, living in a place designated by God for the Jewish people. This is precisely the problem. But it gets even worse. Though Cain did not despise Arabs, what he and his grandson Meir Ettinger truly hated was the secular Jewish state. It is this kind of hatred that led Jews such as Yigal Amir to assassinate the Prime Minister of Israel, Isaac Rabin. And so that they used religion to justify their violence.
Exactly. Not only the Arabs, but the secular Israeli government is perceived as the enemy. Now, I would like to get some more students' point of view. Excuse me, sir, what is your opinion?
After reading that chapter, I feel that the author sheds lights on the strong convictions and tensions that arise from differing perspectives on land ownership and identity. He says that Jewish law allowed for two kinds of gesture, obligatory and permissible. The former was required for defense and the latter was allowed when it seems prudent for a state to do so. And today we just learned in the class that according to Peter Berger, it is also a conflict between different social orders.
Excellent, very well summarized. And now I would like to get some critical evaluations about this chapter and the book. Excuse me, sir. What is your name?
Bernard Windsor.
Good to meet you. I have a question for you. I hear that you all have been reading the book Terror in the Mind of God.
Yes, we are.
So, what is your opinion about how the author has presented the matter? What do you think is in the mind of the author?
Well, the author Mark J makes a very interesting examination, concerning the fact that on account of religion, very many people resort to extremist ideologies which tend to often create more violence than peace. But I would like to ask this question and to think that who determines what is divinely right, Who determines that which is we should hold as strong or religious belief? Because as Jacques Derrida says in his book Avowing the Impossible, he says that some of the things that we hold as absolute, as immutable, as unchangeable, are in themselves far from that in reality, because right and wrong, true and good, those things, sometimes they are blurry. And as a result, when you hold on to ideologies like this, rather than accepting the fact that reality is really unstable and uncertain, you tend to think my point is right and the other is wrong, and as a result, tend to harm people. So I really look at these ideologies, especially of people like Ettinger and Kahane, to be very extremist and missing the point.
That's excellent, sir. I love your understanding. But I would like to know, what do you feel the author says? What is in the mind of the author? How do you think he has presented the matter?
Well, from a reader's perspective, I think Mark J has done a good job in presenting the whole idea on the Zionist betrayal. But I would like to think that he is one-sided in his presentation, because he paints most often or greatly within that text a somewhat negative impression of religion as a whole.
Exactly. So this author has mainly focused on the negative side of religion. But let's get some more perspectives, shall we? Sister, what do you think the author had in mind when he was writing this? What do you think he has mainly spoken about?
I asked, why hasn't the author interviewed more moderate Jews for another perspective? It was said that Kahane's political party never managed to get many votes. and was outlawed for its extremist rhetoric. This shows that the extremist views were not supported by the majority.
Yes, good point. Sir, what would you like to say?
The author also claims that the Israel government is a fundamental, but he doesn't justify this claim. Yet, he acknowledges that the extremist political party was outlawed. Further, there was just a passing mention of the anti-terrorism laws of Israel. Why was not more explanation given about this? Why was not a spokesperson of the government interviewed?
Excuse me, sir. If you could ask the author one question, now that you've read the whole chapter, what do you feel you will ask him?
I would ask the author, is there any evidence of public dissent or support for Heidegger's radical view within the Israeli society?
That's another great question. But we are really running out of time, and I would like to go into the contemporary relevance of this chapter. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I would like to ask you, what do you think is the contemporary relevance of this chapter? How relevant is it today?
Of course, it is very relevant today in this world because just the Israel Palestine war going on.
Exactly, and that is why we are taking this chapter right now. Sir, would you like to add something more?
Yes. The insights from the book can be applied to contemporary discussion on extremism and nationalism in our land. The Indian Kashmir issue or land dispute is similar to Palestine-Israel issue.
Very well said, sir. Thank you. Sir, I would like to ask you, what do you have to say now?
So my personal take on this is I'm against the whole idea of mixing religion and politics. As Jacques Maritain would have it, there should be a separation between church and state, and that implies from an ideological perspective. Because, we can see it all over the world. Like, for instance, the RSS in India, we have the ICCs in the Middle East, and all over the world that people camouflage political ideologies under religion, and the same can be said of religious ideologies under politics. So I would think that that is a mistaken way to go by, because how can a good God, how can a gracious God, as we see, want that others should be chased out, or want that others should be killed on account of righteous reason? That for me is a mistaken understanding.
Definitely. But now we are running out of time, so I would like to get some closing comments. Sir, I would like your closing comments. What would you like to say?
Maybe all religions teach peace and love. The fanaticism or fundamentalism, that's the main issue. We need to engage in inter-religious dialogue rather than being engaged in some useless, senseless violence.
Exactly. Very well said. Very well said. Truly, we must focus on inter-religious dialogue because all religions, after all, teach peace and love. I would like to give the last word to our sister.
Thank you, Mr. Goswami. I would like to end with the words of Pope Francis. Wars are always unjust since it is the people of God who pay. Our hearts cannot but weep before the children and women killed, along with all the victims of war. War is never the way. The spirit that unites us asks us as shepherds to help the peoples who suffer from war. War is always a defeat. It is a destruction of the human fraternity.
Very well said. What a beautiful way to end with the words of Pope Francis. War is never the way. And so we come to an end of another episode. We may not have found the solution to the Israel and Palestine conflict, but at least we've analyzed the book Terror in the Mind of God to some extent. Thank you and stay tuned to the Justice Show.